All right, moving to lesson 5. Just gonna start with word problems, and I wrote down the problem. So what I want to do is circle or mark some of the key words that I see. Now, when doing word problems, I would recommend reading the whole thing briefly, and then going back and starting to solve for it. So twice a number is decreased by 7, and this quantity is multiplied by 3. The result, I already know that result is going to be a key word. The result is 9 less than 10 times the number. What is the number, question mark? So I'm going to, when I see the word result, what that makes it look like is one side of the equation is here, and the other side of the equation comes after. Now there's different keywords. There's different keywords that we'll look at. But let's look at the first part of the equation, the part highlighted in red. Twice a number decreased by 7, and this is multiplied by 3. Twice a number. Well, you just have to realize what twice a number means, and that's simply you choose your variable. I'm going to choose n for number. So twice a number we write as 2 times n. So 2n is decreased by 7. So 2n, we know, is decreased by 7. Well, decreased would mean subtraction. So 2n minus 7. This quantity is multiplied by 3. How do we write? Now that part can be confusing. This quantity is multiplied by 3. Well, quantity refers to this as its own expression. So in order to make it its own expression, what we would need to do is put it in parentheses. So quantity may be a key word for parentheses. All right, and I'll just put that there. Quantity is a key word for parentheses. And it's multiplied by 3. So write the 3 on the outside. So now, let's see if what we have here looks like what is here. Twice a number is decreased by 7, and this quantity is multiplied by 3. I think that's right. The result, so equals, so the result of this equals, is usually a keyword for equals, is 9 less than 10 times the number. 9 less than 10 times the number. 9 less than is probably one of the biggest errors I see students make, because they will often do 9 minus 10 times the number. That is incorrect. 9 minus does not mean 9 less than. You kind of just have to think about it. But 9 less than would have a subtraction sign in front of it. So it would look something like this. Minus 9. Now that would mean 9 less than. Now 10 times a number, I'm going to, 10 times a number, just like twice a number, same thing, 10n. If you wanted to, you could totally write this as negative 9 plus 10n. To me, it just makes sense when you say 9 less than 10 times a number. This way makes more sense to me, but either one would work. But just remember, 9 less than a number means the subtraction sign is in front of the number. Then from here, just solve. Got parentheses, order of operations. So we're going to distribute. 3 times 2n is 6n. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. That equals 10n minus 9. Find like terms and add them together. So I'm going to do minus 6n to both sides. Those cancel. That equals 4n. So now we're here. Negative 21 equals 4n minus 9. So we add the 9 to get We're trying to get the n by itself. Negative 21 plus 9, what is that? That's negative 12. So negative 12 equals 4n. Divide by 4. N equals negative 3. N equals negative 3, and that would be your answer. So there's a word problem. So just going over keywords. I'm going to skip example 5.2 and move to example 5.3. The sum of negative 7, 6 times a number, is multiplied by 5. The result. We see a similar word that we did before. Might as well highlight it. The result is 332, less than 3 times the number. This is very similar to the one we had before. So we have the front end, or the front side, left side of the equal sign, and the right side. And then we can solve. The sum of negative 7 and 6 times the number. What does sum mean? You just have to know your words. But this is from math a few years ago, Algebra 1 maybe. Sum equals an addition sign. That's what the word sum means. So you just have to know what that word stands for. So the sum of negative 7 and 6 times a number. So the sum of negative 7 and, so these are the two variables it's the sum of, 6 times a number, like we did in the last one, 6 times a number, is multiplied by 5. The sum right here is all multiplied. It didn't just say, if you wrote, well, it didn't just say the negative 7 is multiplied by 5, or the 6n is multiplied by 5. It says the sum of them is, or the quantity. So you would have to put this in parentheses and have 5 on the outside, since the whole expression there is multiplied by 5. So we got the left side done. The result here is 332 less than 3 times the number. Well, we said on the last one that 332 less than is negative 332. And what is it 332 less than? It is 332 less than 3 times the number. So 3n. And now we have a problem, and now you solve. I'll solve this one pretty quickly. Distribute. 5 times negative 7, negative 35. 5 times 6n is 30n. That equals 3n minus 332. Let's see. Minus the 3n. 27n. Add 35. Hopefully y'all have it from here. Well, let's see if I can do this mentally. Add that, that'd be negative 297, I believe. Equals 27n. Let me find my calculator. Negative 297 divided by 27 is negative 11. So your answer is n equals negative 11. And that is word problems. Word problem. 1/5, just look at the examples here. 1/5 of the clowns had red noses. If 30 clowns had red noses, how many clowns were there in all? Well, I'll tell you the way that for me, a lot of my students have just been able to kind of do these mentally. But for me, I'm a visual learner, so one way for me to see it is by doing what is called a ratio box. And in the ratio box, I'm going to use, well, the ratio that was already given, 1/5. So I'm going to start by using that. Now, let me say this. this is going to be my fraction, ratio side, whatever you want to call it. 1, and this is going to be my total spot. So 1/5 of the clown had red noses. So 4 did not have red noses. And then here's a clown, how about this, with a very creepy clown with a red nose. So here's my ratio box to start. 1/5 of the clowns had red noses. So 1 represents clowns with red noses, 4 clowns with not red noses, and then total clowns in all. So this is my ratio side. My other side goes for my actual number of clowns. I hate clowns. If 30 clowns had red noses, how many were there in all? So that told us 2 things. 30 clowns had red noses. Well, which blank over here do we think is red noses? Well, this one is the one of clowns that have red noses, so therefore the 30 is going to go opposite of the 1 because this is red noses. And then it says, then it wants to know how many clowns were there in all. This is our total blank here, and then this is the column with the clowns. So I'm going to put a C there because we want to know how many total clowns were in all. So now we have our variable. We can solve, I'll show you how. We can eliminate this box, that is not needed, and we can do 1/5 equals 30 over C. We just line them up on top of each other. You could do 1/30 equals 5/C. You could do that as well. Either way will work. But from this point, we cross multiply. 1 times C is C. 5 times 30, 150. 150 clowns in all. That's a very scary party. 150 clowns in all. If you wanted to check it, you could see 30 over 150. And if you were to reduce 30 over 150, you can see that that does equal the proper ratio. And that's how I do fractional parts of a number for word problems. I just do a ratio box. We'll do one more. Get over the cord here. Okay, one more. Example 5.5. Last example. Hopefully that fractional or ratio box helps you. 7/8 of the Tartar horses horde rode horses. All right, 7/8 rode horses. Create my ratio box. 7 out of 8 rode horses. So this is rode horses. This is our total. And then this column is our ratio. So this is what we know. Now I did forget to say in the first example, these boxes will always add up to equal your total. So you can automatically know that this is going to be 1 because 7 plus 1 is 8. Now this, let's continue to read on. So we got the first sentence. Then it says, if 140,000 were in the horde. Total. So in the horde is the total. So we can put that in this blank. How many did not ride the horses? Well, this, these boxes right here, this row, that's the word I'm looking for. This row is how many rode horses. This row is how many did not ride horses. So which one do you think we would be looking for, X or Y? X being rode horses, Y being did not ride horses. Well, how many did not ride horses? So therefore, our ratio would be these boxes. 1 over 8 equals Y over 140,000. And then you would solve for that very big number. So cross multiply, 140,000 equals 8y. So 140,000 divided by 8 equals 17,500 did, out of the 140,000, did not ride. So that would be your answer. And that is fractional parts of a number, and that is the end of lesson 5.